If you are experiencing foundation issues, get a free estimate from Ox Foundations.
Little spring in her step this morning, 48 degrees in downtown Sylacauga. Dr. Ted Spears, fresh from the 13th Annual Magic of Marble Festival. Dr. Ted, good morning to you.
Good morning, Jimmy Dale.
Good to have you with us this morning. Now, let's face it, there were some naysayers from a year ago that said it won't happen this year, but it did, and what a great Magic of Marble Festival it was.
Well, you know, I heard the same thing that you heard, and I experienced the same feelings that everybody else did. But we were determined that something like the Marble Festival, which we've been working on for 12 years, we weren't going to let it die. And so what we did, as you know, we did a Plan B, and which enabled us to tide ourselves over till this year. And we made constant contact with our sculptors who had been here. And they indicated that they were having cabin fever. They wanted to get out. They wanted to come, and I said, well, I think there's a way. We'll just keep working on it, and depending on the COVID restrictions, we'll handle it. And even when we sent the applications out, we said we will observe the Center for Disease Control restrictions, and if you all will cooperate with me, we will wear a mask, and we'll use a 6-foot personal distance thing, and we'll eliminate some of the things where the crowds were. For example, we canceled the tours to the quarries because you can't put 30 people in a bus and ride them around and keep a 6-foot distance. And the social activities, we curtailed those, and we approached it another way. Instead of having the mayor's reception, instead of having an annual fish fry and an annual reception and dinner under the stars or whatever we were doing, we went to looking at food cards for them to go into the different restaurants around. And they seemed to enjoy that. But the fact of the matter is, when it came down to the lick log, they wanted to come and sculpt. They had had great experiences before, and I would be happy if we had had 15. I told all the people and our volunteers, who are absolutely wonderful, that if we got 15, we'd be very happy. We had 31 sculptors.
Wow.
And so they all were there at one time or another for 4 or 5, probably 6 days. We had all 31. And that's really challenging when you're furnishing the tables, the air, the electricity, the tents, and all of that. But they were glad we did it, and I am delighted that we decided to go ahead and not do another Plan B, but to do the full sculpting. And the people at AM3, or the Sylacauga Quarry, they were very helpful. And we had a better quality of stone this year than we've ever had. And the sculptors noticed that, and they said, you know, this, of all the time we've been coming, this is the best stone that we've had. So I'll say that those people at Sylacauga Quarry, Jennifer Mosley and her crew, they really went to bat for us and produced some outstanding marble to sculpt.
Dr. Spears, let's face it, it was critical that we continue with this Marble Festival this year.
Oh, it absolutely was. When I talked to Dr. Elliott Knight, the director of the Alabama State Council of the Arts, he said, you've got too much momentum going, and you might can delay it a year, but he said, I support your idea to go ahead, because we experienced some problems statewide that we still have, and if you're successful, we can point to you all, and we can point to Sylacauga as being the model that everybody can go by. If you don't give up, you do good planning, you keep your people engaged, you keep them informed, and then you produce, you bring in the sculptors, and it's been a rousing success.
Talk about the award ceremony on Saturday.
Well, the award ceremony was just really a fabulous sort of thing. As you know, we had Ibby Dixon, Miss Sylacauga there to help give out the prizes.
Always good to add beauty to it, isn't it?
Absolutely. And a hometown girl like that, she's just one of the most poised and one of the most articulate, and a very beautiful girl. and cooperative and intelligent. So I know that the Dixon family is just really thrilled to have her, and Sylacauga ought to be thrilled to have her in the Miss Alabama contest because she represents us in no uncertain ways, and so I was delighted to have her. Jeff Turner came to me a year ago, and we revived wanted to help us revive the scavenger hunt, and we sat down and talked, and we were ready for the last year, but the COVID-19 got us, so we just put everything on hold. I asked him to hold it, and we had most of the pictures already done, the applications already done. We just sat on it for a year, but we had a great success, and one of the person who won the award, we had a tie for first place among 5 people, and we had to draw draw it out of a hat or a box or whatever. And the Mrs. Atkinson, who works with Jim down at the rec center, she won, and I did not realize it, but she had entered every year and had been a close to the winning.
Had never won, had she?
Never won, and she was a great winner. And I know that Robert interviewed her, and I stood there and listened to the things that she was saying, and she was very articulate and is a great ambassador for the city of Sylacauga.
What do people from other parts of the world, even here in the United States and Alabama, say about our Marble Festival?
Well, let me start off by saying we had about 16 states represented, starting with Washington State, Texas. We had 2 new sculptors from Kansas, 1 new one from St. Louis, 1 from Chicago. We had 4, 5, or 6 from the Georgia, 1 from South Carolina, and 3 from Tennessee, plus our Alabama. And also we had 2 from Florida, and the 2 from Florida were seasoned sculptors who've been to almost every one of them, and both of them are in business. So one, Enrico Torticoletti, has a gallery in St. Augustine, and he still sculpts, and he has one of the better galleries, and he's in demand all over the nation for the kind of things that he does. And then Bob Larson from Pensacola, Florida, in the Fort Walton Beach area, he's both of them are former instructors at Florida State University, and they're still sculpting. And what they say, that they don't want anything to happen that would not provide them an opportunity that they've had here. They said the people are friendly, the small town atmosphere is great, the people who come by are very gracious, and they talk to them, and then said we're treated royally. He said no other place that we go to sculpt do we get to treat like we get in Sylacauga. And that speaks well for all of the volunteers and the city council support and the support of Reed Calfee and his crew. All of us go all out. And then the Arts Council board worked the sale room, and we had Shirley Williams in charge of that, and she did a beautiful job. The rest of them were volunteers from all over, and they do a great deal to project the image of Sylacauga. But 2 people in particular, Robert Campbell and David Curry, worked with us at the site, greeting people, handing out brochures, answering questions about Sylacauga.
Well, you got 2 talkers right there for sure.
Absolutely, and they do a marvelous job, and I can't say enough for both of them. Robert has been with me longer than David has, and David started, I think, a year before last, and they do a beautiful job, and people say, you know, I've learned more today about marble from these men and about Sylacauga than I have any even the town I live in. So with that, and I talked with Robert, and he's recruiting us 1 or 2 more people to help us so that we can do an even better job. We don't want anybody to come on that site unless we greet them and say, welcome to Sylacauga, welcome to the Marble Festival. Have you been here before? How can we help you? Can we give you directions? Or you need information on restaurants, or wherever you want to go, we'll help you in any way we can.
Nothing like those, to see those big buses pull into Sylacauga, man.
Boy, we had one tour with it, and we did still do tours to the observation site. And one came to a group they call the Senior Citizens of Pensacola, 35 women. Well, I think there was one or two men in there, but I think one was a bus driver, and I don't know what the other guy was doing in there. But
God help him.
It was exciting. So they came and toured the library, and I rode the bus with them and talked with them about Sylacauga, and we did a loop through town, and I pointed out all the beautiful things we have. You know, Broadway's a beautiful street, and you can point out a lot of things. We'll go down Fort Williams and then on Norton Avenue. So they were impressed with that, and they were able to have lunch downtown and then walk down to the site, and then we rode out to the observation point, and we had Robert meet them there, and he had to do his spiel on the Gantz Quarry and the old village and the hole itself and the purpose of it. And then the Emrys people have set up kiosks out there that explain the geological structure and also the manufacturing and processing that they do and why they do it. And, you know, the people enjoy that, and they just say, you know, we're coming back next year. We enjoyed this. Of all the things, all the trips that we make, and they make them periodically, that's why they hold the group together. I have never heard of many groups like this, but this is a travel group that everybody belongs to the club. They rent the buses, they plan their trips a year ahead, and they go to 5 or 6 different places like Sylacauga and the Marble Festival. So, you know, it's a effort, but it's a wonderful effort. It makes us feel good, makes them feel good, and it makes Sylacauga a destination point. And when they come, they eat, they buy gas, they talk to the people, they bring their own sense of well-being and comparison, and they go away saying, I like that place.
Yeah. I was watching some of the funeral in Italy, I think it's Italy, with the prince. I think it was a prince the other day, and all the beautiful architecture. And a thought crossed my mind. I said, if this cathedral doesn't have some marble from Sylacauga, Alabama in it, I'd be surprised, because we've got it all over the world.
Yeah, you know, it's strange you mentioned that, because the other day when I went down to the quarry to talk to Jennifer Mosley about something, she said, I'm glad you didn't come yesterday. We've had one of the biggest orders we've had. We have shipped truckloads of marble to Italy.
Wow. And
always you hear it the other way, marble coming from Carrara, and now they're shipping it to Italy. And you know, if they ship it to Italy, it goes to France and Germany and England and Spain and everywhere else. So it's a great thing, and I think you're right. The great cathedrals, and you know, like the temple in Salt Lake City, the Mormon temple, it's got Sylacauga marble in it. They bought it back in the 20s and 30s when it was being built, and so we have been reaching out there into the world with Sylacauga marble since the turn of the century.
Wow. So 13's in the books. What's next?
Well, we're looking, and right now the things in the books, we're trying to clear up everything, make sure we got all our bills paid, that we've got communication with all the sculptors who we hear, we're getting their feedback. And then we're looking at next year, and we've already picked a date. I talked with Jim Armstrong yesterday and carried my letter and asking to reserve Central Park for April the 5th through the 16th of next year. So we've got that out of the way, and next, the main thing we have to do now is to make our final report to the State Arts Council, and that'll take a couple of weeks, but we have 30 days at the end of the festival to get our report into them to see what they think. And we, based on our Plan B last year, they gave us an increase And I think after this year, with the things that we've added and the rapport that we had with them and the rapport that we had with the Bureau of Tourism, and it's going to start. All we need to do is decide what pictures we're going to use, make arrangements. We already set with the marble people, and it's just a continuous process. I don't wait till a few weeks before. Like I told you a while ago, I work on it every day, in every way, and so I'm not the only one. I got Robert and David, and of course, one of the best things that happened this year is that Tracy Thomas, the director, decided that they're going to take the newspaper room, and they did move it and donated the newspaper room as a marble gallery. And we have we put all the original pieces around in the library at different places, and people are just blown away just walk in there. And then they got a TV screen that they roll events and happenings that happened at the Marble Festival and the things that we've done, and so that people can come to the library, visit, and know that they've seen one of the best marble selections in the Southeast, and they're treated very graciously and given a tour. And they look at it and say, they have over 100,000 books, but they also have, 50 or 60 pieces of marble sculpture. And it's worth looking at. Every one of it, in one sense or another, is a historical piece. And we're just delighted with that.
I'm sure it puts a big smile on your face to see our kids from our local schools plug into the Marble Festival and educate them on the importance of living in a town like Sylacauga and what we have to offer.
It is, and when you look at it through the eyes of a visitor, it's better than a lot of us think. I know sometimes we have our petty grievances and they're not happy about this or unhappy about that. Other people don't see that. What they see is a beautiful old town where the arts and the culture are wonderful. Our schools are attractive. Our museum is attractive. The city hall, the county buildings, the school board thing across the street here is just nice and clean and modern and up to date, but still not offensive in any way. So I think that we really need to concentrate on that, and I'm delighted that these organizations, the people who are now picking up trash or what little trash there is, and it's looking great. I know that they picked up on both sides of the road from 280 to the observation site, and it looked beautiful, and people notice that. It's clean, it's attractive, they're welcome to visitors, and one of the couple from Washington, he was a first-time carver, and he carved the most beautiful anvil out of Sylacauga marble. He was a blacksmith by trade and an electrician and all that. This was their first time. While they were here, they started looking for a place to relocate, to buy a home, buy some acreage with a house on it, and because they were so well treated and were so happy that they said, "Hey, this is a place we would like to move to."
What was before we go? What was one of the most unique pieces that was carved in this year's festival that you saw?
We had we had 4 or 5 beautiful pieces. I would say that it was Pamela Payne from Montgomery, who is a retired French teacher from Auburn University, has been with us for a number of years. She did a modernistic piece, and it represents her view and what she sees in a piece of marble. And I would say that was unique. And the other one was a first-time guy, Michael Chirovitz, and he was the most outstanding first-time sculptor that I have seen in a long time. He did a thing of Christ and in the kneeling position, and bowed over. And his concept of what Jesus looked like, he told me, none of us know. There were no pictures of Jesus.
Right.
We don't know what he looks like. He's here in our mind as to how he looked, and we've seen pictures of the long hair and the sandals, but this is my concept of it. It was Jesus bowed over praying, and that was the most interesting piece. And also, the other sculptors tell me that's the most difficult piece he could have possibly carved for a first-time carver.
He jumped right on it.
He jumped right on it, and he said, well, you don't have the spirit. And he didn't have a model, he didn't have a clay model, he didn't have a picture. He had an idea of what Jesus looked like.
That's amazing. Dr. Spears, thank you so much for coming this morning and sharing about the Magic Marble Festival, and we look forward to bigger and better things next year.
Thank you for all the help, and let me say out loud that Robert Pearson is a jewel, and Sylacauga better pay attention to him. He's
absolutely. Dr. Ted Spears, the Magic Marble Festival, our guest this morning. We got more Daybreak coming up right after this.